Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Totally Broken Opinions. On today's episode, we are covering the Fallout TV series, um, because we've both watched it, and I'm assuming both of us have enjoyed it.
Well, yeah. I mean, last week we did our video game adaptation tier list, which was
Yes.
inspired from this TV show.
Yes. Well, it was inspired just because Hollywood's been doing a lot of stuff recently, video game related. It's going to be the new superhero boom, I imagine, because you got to replace one thing with another.
Yeah, I think superheroes are sort of on the way out now.
Because just like superheroes, you had some in the early days, and they were kind of bad, and then they had a resurgence and a big boom, and then Hollywood went, yes, everyone must do this. Everyone must have a cinematic universe. Didn't work out very well for them, but you now got Hollywood going. What else did we have that wasn't doing very well in the early 2000s to 90s? Video games. Video games. We had those. Let's reboot them and make them have people with talent do them sometimes.
Yeah, I guess we had a discussion in our tier list, but video game genres I think are very hard to make a good adaptation of.
Yes, because unlike book adaptations, where it's a lot of written explaining of stuff, video games you've already seen and played what you want to show. So it's not really as an interesting a medium to switch to because you've gotten visuals, you've grown attached to these characters. Um, but neither one of us, I don't think, has played the Fallout series very much. I haven't played it really at all.
No, but after watching this Fallout show, it's made me a lot more interested in the franchise.
Not at all. For me, not at all. I don't like Bethesda games. I don't like their play style. And I don't like their exploration and stuff like that. And I don't love that. I think the world's cool, but I'd rather just stick with the show. I'm not going to switch to playing the games, unfortunately. So you can hate me all you like, but unfortunately, it's not for me. Tried to play them. I never gelled with them. But yeah.
To be fair, I've never actually given it a go. I don't know why. I just assumed it was something else.
I've found them buggy. I don't love their combat. I don't love just mindlessly wandering around doing nothing until I stumble upon some story. And I don't love dialogue trees. I like linear stuff, not super. Like I can do the whole wandering around, but I just get distracted and then I don't do anything, and then I just put the game down and go, "Well, that was fun."
Have you seen they've now released Fallout 4 for remaster?
Yeah, and apparently it's not great.
Apparently, yeah, it's quite bad.
Yeah, and modders are very upset because they changed PC, and it made bugs, and modders already fixed it. Because Bethesda is just Bethesda, and they love not making games that work properly, and then letting the modding community do it, and then fucking over the modding community. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about a TV show. Full spoilers ahead with episode 1, The End,
Yes.
which makes a very confusing statement.
Yeah, so going into this, well, I want to say for the whole show, I found it very captivating. I had multiple times where something would come on my phone and I would look at it, but I felt like I couldn't stay on my phone. I wanted to go back to the TV show, which I think is a very good thing.
Yeah, it's very intriguing, very engaging. From the offset, straight away from you meeting the Cooper Howard, the Hollywood actor played by what's his name, Walton Goggins, and him at a birthday party or something doing like, you're like, who is this man? Why is he a cowboy? Why is he doing this? He seems like someone of importance. And then you finally get the visual of the bombs dropping, and you're like, oh shit, straight off the bat. And I know the basic premise of like Fallout is like you go into bunkers and you have the bombs and everyone comes out, and there are loads of different experiments. So I didn't go in fully unaware of all of this. Like, I knew that the Fallout shelters were experiments, so the twist towards the end wasn't as big of a twist as I'm sure to many people who haven't played the games.
Yeah,
Who
so
watch
I
this.
only found out about it being experiments from you. That being said, I think it was still a good twist of what the experiment was.
Oh yeah, I think I don't get me wrong. I found the intrigue of the show very engaging, even despite knowing that there was a sinister side to the vaults and everything like that.
Yeah, so in the first episode, of course, yeah, we see the start of the nuclear war. 219 years later, we enter Vault 33
This is
with
also set in 2077, so it's a
no, it must be later than that.
No, in 2077, actor Cooper Howard and his daughter Janie are caught in the middle of a nuclear explosion. 219 years later, Vault 33
Oh,
dweller.
okay.
It's a alternate history to our
Yeah, I'm
current one.
guessing it's like if the Cold War didn't end.
Yeah, it's we still have 1980, 1990 60s technology. 1960s.
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird. It's like I think it's like a different branch of technology.
Yeah.
Like if we didn't get sort of semiconductors, I'm gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when we had like a lot bigger technology-wise things.
Yeah. I really liked all the technology in this show because it was just a lot of, like, they didn't explain everything. It was just, it got on and did it. So they don't go and explain how the power armor suits work. It's just like, yeah, there's a power core. It just works. It's like an Iron Man suit. They don't need to explain it every 10 seconds going, this is hydraulics, this is blah, 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 blah. The medicine and stuff is just like you take it and it suddenly heals you and you're like, oh, okay. They don't go, this is why. I like the showing, just not the telling.
Yeah, no, you definitely are right there.
Yeah, and the show does this a lot. It's just like, it doesn't talk down to its audience. It trusts that you're paying attention, which I like. It's nice to not be just handheld throughout this show going, look at this thing from the game that you remember. And I'm like, yay, I have no interest in this. They just have things like in the background and you're like, oh, okay. They don't pull focus to it. It's just there if you want to know and you're like, oh, okay. Like the ending, where, okay, spoilers, the dad, the whole point of why Lucy goes out, is the main actress who we found out is also the voice of Jinx in Arcane, which means she's the goddess of video game adaptations at the moment. 2 for 2. But her dad, that ending scene is going to supposedly Fallout New Vegas, which is one of the games, or like set like near Vegas or something. It looks like, or people are talking about that being Vegas. And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that. But I was just like, oh, where's that? Because I don't know. I played Fallout New Vegas for like 10, 20 minutes and I got bored. Which is longer than I got in some of the others. But, like, I was just like, oh, okay, this is cool. And that's the thing. It's just like, there's all of those intrigue. And I was still invested into like, oh, where's he going? Where's this cool place? Even if I didn't know. And all the fans who did have it probably are like, yes, this is where it is. Although I'm sure people are upset about timelines because I saw that happening. And I was just like, yeah, I don't care about timelines. Although I think they've come out and stated that this happens before or after the events that people were pissed off about. I don't know. I think you gotta cut your ties with it. You're like, if your head canon is this, just keep your head canon. This doesn't de facto from it. It's a good show regardless, I imagine.
Yeah, so let's start off at the beginning and or call the end. So we join Vault 33 with Lucy, and we see that she's trying to apply to get married to someone from Vault 32.
Yeah, she's because cousin kissing is fun, but not good for long-term prosperity.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this show has a lot of incest jokes, and I'm like, oh, straight off the bat, it's telling me this is going to be completely different, and I appreciate the fuck out of it because I was just like, oh,
and it's just like clearly they're all just quite very horny, but they just kind of fuck each other, and they.
Well, yeah, you're in a vault for however long. She's like 20 something, 25 maybe, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it. I mean, that makes perfect sense.
I also feel so bad for her because she just basically fucks a random dude who then
Yeah, so
turns
it's
out
like
to be an
the
evil
Raiders.
random dude.
So
And it's
yeah, it
just
turns
like,
out it
oh,
was the
okay.
Raiders who just wanted to just cause havoc, and then
No,
apparently introduced the character called Moldova, which we didn't know what it was, but it's assumed that she's just kind of this person who somehow knows
horrible,
the
evil
father,
raider. Yeah.
evil raider, yeah. And then kidnaps the father for some reason, unexplained. But for
And
some
then
reason, the
tells
father chooses to
Lucy,
kill
yeah.
Lucy instead of everyone else. And then Lucy tries to set up to find her father, and I
Yeah,
think
because
that was
Moldova
good.
says, come find me if you want to know, or whatever, or something like that. It's been a
Yeah.
while since I watched this, but yeah. And then, yeah, so Lucy then basically talks to her brother and everything, and the cousin, aforementioned cousin. Uh,
Yeah, so it's that one cousin, isn't it, that she would
who's the
seemed
gatekeeper, like the doorkeeper.
gatekeeper, yeah, that she kept, I'm guessing, shagging.
No, because she's not lost her. It's just kissing.
Oh, I thought it was just.
No, none of them had fucked. It's just kissing. That's because that's the joke. It's like she doesn't want to. I think she's a virgin up until that point.
I don't know. She seemed very open with Maximus.
Yeah, because she just had it and she really enjoyed
I
it.
guess so, yeah.
Yeah. Because that was another joke. It was just like, "Do you want to fuck?" And he's just like, with my penis." And I'm like, "Yeah, cool.
It's like two virgins just talking to each other.
Yeah." But yeah, I think that's because she was like, yeah, I think she was a virgin up until that point. And that's why because I think it was probably those old Christian values that you have to get married before you can have sex. But yeah, we're also introduced to Maximus in this episode.
Yeah, I think what I will say is the Brotherhood stuff at the start seemed the least interesting to me.
Yes. Also, people are a bit annoyed at the timeline of this, I think, because it doesn't mesh with the game's timelines of events of like the Brotherhood of Steel. I
Right,
guess.
okay.
I don't know. They seem to either appear too early or too late in the timeline. For whatever people like. This doesn't make any sense. Why are they here? And I think it's just because it's the more iconic look for Fallout, like those big power suits, and they just want them there because that's what people associate with Fallout.
Yeah,
Is
because that's not gonna lie, that's what I thought Fallout was. I thought it was more to do with that
yeah,
than the vaults.
yeah. So that was the thing. I found it quite restrained in terms of what it was showing because it was just like when that monster in the lake was happening, and it turns out it's a big axolotl or whatever it is. I thought it was going to be the Death Claw, or there was the big bear or whatever it was. I thought there was going to be a Death Claw, which is the big like lizard. If you type in Death Claw, you'll see what it looks like, Dan. But people who are listening to this will know what a Death Claw is. And it's the skull that the dad steps next to at the end when he's walking to the desert. And I thought it was going to be one of the, yeah. It's a very iconic monster from Fallout. But I thought one of them was going to turn up just because that's the obvious go-to monster that everyone recognizes if they've seen the games. And then it was like, oh no, just a mutant bear. And I was like, oh cool. And then a big axolotl. I was like, they've rarely restrained it. So yeah, I was glad. But yeah, I think episode 1 does a really good job of like selling you on these characters.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone...
I think I would say so. I thought it was quite interesting as well with the razor blades in the original Squire's shoe.
Yes,
Because it does very heavily imply it was Maximus. Even when he's sort of denying it, it still, at least to me, felt like it was him.
He's got a very sinister like a presence about him. Like he seems very like he'll one bad day and he'll turn into the Joker type of vibe.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I really thought that his story was gonna be he actually didn't like the Brotherhood because he seemed to keep fucking up for them.
No, he's a fanboy. He just really wants to wear the armor, which I find
No,
fine.
but I wasn't sure because that start image where he sees the knight or something, I was expecting there to be something else at the end of it that implies him or makes him resent the Brotherhood and makes them want to tear it down
I
from
was
inside.
expecting that twist as well, to be honest. I will admit, I was like, oh, there's going to be some twist to this where he actually is trying to take the Brotherhood down or something, and it's just, no, it's just he really admires the guys in the suits.
Yeah, and he's just a bit of a shit squire.
Yeah, I do like that they just have to drag those heavy, like massive bags around, which
Yeah.
I think someone pointed out is a reference to like inventory management in those types of games, because you don't have enough inventory, and it's just like you're carrying this massive weight on you, and it just makes no sense how you're carrying all this heavy stuff. So I appreciated that. But yeah, so we end with, I think, basically the ghoul getting resurrected from a graveyard and basically killing a bunch of people in the first episode. And you're like, who's this? And then you're like, oh yeah, it's Cooper Howard.
Yeah, and at the start, it doesn't. I kind of like that they don't really explain what ghouls are.
Yes.
It's just kind of left as like, how is he alive? Like, we know it's him. How is he here 220 years later?
Yeah. And you're just like, oh, okay. What happened to this guy? Because you see him at the beginning. How is he alive? And then it's just like, you just see him with his little inhaler sucking on something. And again, doesn't explain how it works, but it just works and he's fine. Like,
Yeah,
for
but
what
it's explained that he needs to take it regularly.
Yes.
Otherwise, he'll become feral.
Yes. Which I like. It's just like, yeah.
So it seems that people, ghouls. I mean, I don't know the games. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I
But
fucking no idea.
It's people kind of who can't die unless it's from a brain injury.
I guess, yeah.
That's why he looks so scarred in his face. And I'm guessing Moldova is probably also a ghoul.
No, she's
Maybe
dead.
she's not actually. Oh no, she's dead now. But
No, the mum was a ghoul.
the mum turned into a ghoul somehow.
Well, the mum, I think, burnt and then probably took. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know.
And that new squad, I can't remember his name. He turned into
Thaddeus, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Thaddeus. Because you got Maximus, Thaddeus, and then Knight Titus. Which
yeah,
I
it's
was.
not really explained. I kind of hope they explain it maybe a little bit more. I think it's quite well explained in the Fallout games.
Probably. I don't know.
But I think I'd like them to explain a
Do you want me to
little
look
bit
it up?
more. Yeah, I think it's to do with an experimentation in one of the vaults where they tried to make something that would make people survive the radiation blast, and so they created ghouls. I think I did some reading before the vaults because the vault stuff was interesting to me.
A post-human, someone who was taken on so much radiation, either over a period of time or from the initial nuclear bombs during the Great War, they managed to survive, but just barely. Okay.
Right, so it seems like they're created from the nuclear blast then,
Yes.
which may be why her mother is one.
Well, no, because she died to the dad coming in to try and take the kids back. Whilst most people died in these blasts, radiation impacted some differently, melting off their skin and giving them a ghoulish appearance. By getting just the right amount of radiation, ghouls were born. So it's basically just like you're at the edge of the radiation bubble and you just get tiny bit of singed. I guess. From this brief article that I read.
But this Howard Cooper ghoul, he's very good shot.
Yes. But that's because in the games there's the VAT system or something, where it's like you get the percentage of where you're hit if you shoot certain parts. So I'm assuming that's a reference to that because he's a very good shot, so he gets 100% all the time.
Yeah, and I can say, I can say the gun, very good sound design.
Yes, I like that.
Every time that gun was shot, I was like, that is cool. Like that is
so
well done.
I know there's a gun in Fallout where you can shoot nukes, like mini nukes. And it felt like that gun was shooting little like I think I think that gun's just shooting little bombs because you see a close up of one of the bullets and it's shaped like a little bomb. So I loved that fight in the second episode and the first episode where he just basically kills those guys, and then it's just like because there's the guy who has the weird gun that shoots like baby legs or toy legs or whatever it was, and you just see a fucking leg sticking out a guy. just shoots like random pieces of scrap or something. I liked all the guns in this. This was
Yeah, very good design. Everything is very well designed in this.
yeah. It looks like I found this to look very like visually appealing. Everything just sort of like felt real.
Yeah, everything felt real. Everything was unique. I mean, yes, I know it's taken from the games, but it still felt unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Yeah. Whereas I found that to compare it to like The Last of Us, which is another well-regarded show that I didn't love, a lot of the backgrounds kind of felt a bit fake in a lot of areas when you're seeing them because I think they used the
I
volume
think
to do
the
it.
trouble with Last of Us as well. I know it's a really good game, but when you're making it as a TV adaptation, there's already been so many zombies related
Yes.
games. It's such a
And they did
done thing.
change the one unique part about like The Last of Us, which was the spores, was a much more difficult thing to avoid rather than just tentacles. Because
Yeah,
they change it to like sprouting seed like roots and shit coming out of them, and I'm just like, cool. I'm glad they made that zombie runner, whatever it was, make out with that lady.
I hated that scene. That was awful.
Doesn't happen
That
in
did,
the game, and it's shit in the fucking show. Just like, why? Why? Why make a
yeah.
kid?
So yeah, to compare them both, I think Last of Us is very similar to a lot
It's
of
it's
other.
a good story. I felt the execution of it was poor.
Whereas Fallout, very similar to the game in terms of visuals, but it's very different from
It's
anything
its
else
own
I've seen
unique
on.
thing, but it still does well.
It's unique to TV. I don't. I can't think of anything similar. Can you?
Well, I think it was. I haven't watched it, but Westworld came to mind because I think Jonathan Nolan did some Westworld.
I guess Westworld's somewhat similar, but it's very different stories still.
Oh yeah, Westworld is just Jurassic Park but with robots, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because it's the same guy. The original writer did both Jurassic World and Westworld, or Jurassic Park and Westworld, didn't he? So,
Yeah, I think so. What do you make of the head?
the head.
The guy's head.
Oh, I love that guy.
The whole thing where
The
you see
scientist
him come
dude who,
along.
yeah, you're like, oh, he's making a doctor. What's his face?
Yeah, it
And
was
then
so weird because he had a dog, and then I think he saved that dog, didn't he? Because that dog was technically under £10, but he just logged it as £10,
yeah,
which
and
I
then
thought was
he,
really cute. I was like, cute
yeah,
moment.
I like that. I liked how that dog is completely unloyal to him though, because it's like he's really loyal, and then immediately as soon as he's dead, it's just like, yeah, I'll follow the ghoul.
Yeah, and
I'll follow
when
Maximus and this guy. I don't
he
care.
shot the something into his neck at the time.
Well, he did save. He did save the dog. Because he basically,
Yeah,
which I imagine makes the dog a ghoul.
don't know, maybe.
Same thing as that Thaddeus guy got.
Yeah.
But I was really because I think I can't remember. I think one of the images like from Fallout is that you walk with a dog. I think it's Fallout 3 or something. Is one of the Vault people is walking with a dog in one of the images. And like because I know one of the games you have like a dog alongside. But I don't know. So I was always expecting them to do the shot of like Lucy and the dog, but it never came. Like it's like she does hang out with the dog, but they never have that like shot of the dog and the person walking side by side.
Yeah. I also love how Lucy just came to the surface. I'm thinking that she's very naive.
I love how naive like the Ella Purnell does a really good job of like portraying how naive but like strong-willed she is. Like
Yeah.
it's just really
And,
like engaging.
and it's like at the start where she just asks for some water. The guy asks for some water. He just downs the whole thing,
Mm.
and he's like, "Well, offered it to me. I'm taking it all."
Yeah.
And then just the whole first few episodes, you get absolutely shit on
Yeah.
the surface world.
But it's just like that would be someone so isolated from everything who doesn't know that people aren't genuine because they're just living in a world where everyone is just so honest with themselves. Like, yeah,
The
I want to
other
kiss my
thing,
cousin. I
the
don't
other thing
care.
I love about that Vault 33 and the Vault 32,
It's
it's
the
not
mystery behind.
obvious at all what the experiment is.
No, I thought it was just because it's. It turns out it's one of the, um, like, I guess, how would you say it? It's like the Vault 31 is the chamber of all the CEOs and
Executives and like so,
executives and
yeah,
stuff, and
Vault
then
Tech.
Vault 33 is like their offspring.
It's no, so 32 and 33 are two control vaults, and the reason why there's two is so if one falls, one can repopulate the other one, which
Oh right,
shows
yeah,
in the TV show.
yeah,
And the idea is just to create an ultimate human race that survives, but based on management.
right,
So it's always why 31 people get elected as overseers because they're managing the vaults and they want everyone to basically be a high structured society. And the reason why
yeah.
they're all cryogenically frozen is to create a high functioning society for when
They
everyone
come
else
back.
on the surface is dead.
Yes.
And then that's when they repopulate it.
Mm.
And they're told it's to do with radiation levels, but it's not. And it's
Ye-
also whenever there's a crisis, that's when there's like a new overseer or something happens.
yes, I get. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't.
And it's always someone from 31.
Yeah, as the brother discovers.
Yeah,
Um.
but he gets frozen at the end, doesn't he?
Well, we don't know because he does. He looks like he's gonna get like he's gonna go.
I think he gets frozen.
I imagine he does as well, but I also imagine he just picks up that brain and smashes it on the ground. That was such a weird thing. I like how just the random and weird this show gets sometimes. It's like, yeah, just there's just a brain in a jar, rolling around.
As you
Um,
do.
yeah, and it's just the cunt who I think is it the cunt who the Cooper Howard was interacting with that CEO
It
guy.
is. It's the Bob guy, yeah.
Yeah, just that bitch. um,
Yeah, and we see Betty as well in the past as well. And we also see Hank Henry, and Henry's talking early
do we
on
see
in the
Betty?
flashbacks. Betty's there as well. Betty's in the past.
Ah.
She's the I think desk lady where that's Cooper's talking to
Oh, maybe
when he's listening in.
yeah, I think I kind of was doing something else whilst watching the show at that point. Because I was just like, oh yeah, it's just a meeting. I wasn't paying that much attention. Because I know, yeah. Because we get, because yeah, the time does like, the show does jump around doing time stuff where it's like shows the past to unravel some of the mystery as to what's happened. I do like how it all converges and everything. Because it's like, you as the audience are discovering things as it's going on rather than it shows you what's happened and then you're just waiting for the character itself to catch up. You're learning as it goes on, which is good storytelling.
Yeah, and I think we said it before, but they've done a really good job of, or a really good thing of not copying a vault that's already been done in the game. Having
Yeah, I
completely
don't know
no
because
idea.
I can't remember. There's like 100 volts or something, or 200 or
Oh, there's
something.
more. There's loads of vaults.
Yeah. But I just can't remember the main in total. And I think in the games, not all of the vaults have been discovered yet,
No,
or
no, no. There's still
yeah,
some.
or like so there are still some vaults that people don't know. So I'm guessing Vault
That's Fallout
33,
5.
31, and 32 haven't been discussed in the games.
It had not.
Yeah, so they could have done whatever they wanted,
Yeah.
which I liked.
And I think it's a really cool idea. You know, they're definitely a cool idea for a vault system.
How'd you say?
Hmm?
How so?
Well, it's a cool idea that it has three vaults interconnected.
I guess, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure it's not been done in the game. Each vault is independent. And
I
has its
know
own
there
scientific
is
experiment.
one vault where they have one guy and they just cloned him a bunch to see what would happen, or something along those lines.
Yeah, there's some really fucked up experiments in a lot of the vaults. This
I
seems like one
wonder.
of the good ones.
Yeah, I wonder if it was. I know there's a tree person, like a guy, like there's just a tree with a face in it. I've seen so many weird things from Fallout. It looks like an intriguing game. I just don't enjoy that type of game, so it's a shame. I feel like if it was more of a linear storyline, I would have enjoyed it. Like I would have if they made one that was a more linear story, I would probably enjoy it. But it's just that I don't like those type of games, really. Maybe I'll give it a go again. I don't know. Maybe I'm more mature now than my past self.
What do you think of Vault 4 with those weird human genetic experiments?
The what were the weird cult people who they
Yeah,
run
and also
into?
the guy with the weird eye as well.
Oh yeah, the one eye. What do you think? Better than Doctor
That was.
Strange's third eye, or worse than Doctor
I
Strange's?
think it's worse than Doctor Strange's third eye. That did not look good at all.
I thought it worked okay. I wasn't like it was distracting enough that I was just like, okay, yeah, this is where the CGI budget kind of ran out and it's very difficult to do. Cuz it's also really but I also think it suits the aesthetic cuz it's just a weird like a weird thing because you
Thing
can
is, yeah,
still
it is fine.
see cuz you can still see the remnants of where his original eyes were. So it feels like they just kind of melded together but you can still see the slots of the last eyes. It was just
Yeah,
all
it's weird. I also like that axolotl creature was
built in one
a
of the
human experiment from Vault
yeah.
4.
And then
And
it
it was
just
like their
managed to.
ancestors, I think it said they were. It was actually people.
Yeah, I
Because I
found it.
did notice the axolotl. I was like, isn't that it looks like fingers inside his mouth?
Yeah, I
Like
did go. Yeah,
rubbing it
that's a
in.
bunch of whole hands and stuff like that, or something. And I was
Yeah,
just
and it
like,
turns out yes, it actually was. It was actually human.
yeah. I just liked the fact that they were like, oh yeah, you're evil, and then it was like, no, we're just doing the vault, we're just doing the experiment, and then she was like, oh god, I'm so sorry, I blinded a man or something, because she just threw acid in his face or something, didn't she?
Yeah.
Ah, I like how Thaddeus is just eating popcorn, and then
Yeah.
just comes in and just goes, fucking kill you all.
And then like it's fine, they're letting us go. It's like, oh okay.
Oh, okay. And then it's like, oh, you stole their power bank, and you can't do it. So I wonder where that suit's gonna be now, because that suit was just left. That suit just gets left a lot, which I assume is also a reference to the game, because people are like, oh, I ran out of battery. Well, time to just leave it there and come back to it.
Yeah. What do you make of Shady Sands?
What the
'Cause that was a big
bombs?
plot point. Not just the plot point about Shady Sands and everything about it. Because
To be honest,
well,
I wasn't paying that much attention when it was happening, because I was just like, oh yeah, Shady Sands is happening. So I kept forgetting what was happening. Because the problem with this show is it dropped all at once, and I didn't watch it all at once, which is what I would normally do if something drops all at once. But I had no interest in this show when it originally was announced, came out, or anything like that. Because I watched one of the trailers and I was like, oh yeah, it looks fine. I'll see what the reviews say. And then I was just like, I completely forgot about it. I couldn't have cared less. I think there came out a second trailer and I didn't even watch that. And then it came out and I heard that it was really, really good. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. But I watched it like 3 or 4 days after it initially came out. And then I was like, okay. Watched like the first 2 episodes, got engaged with it, went, yep. And then I just had other things happening. So it took like 2 weeks for me to actually get
yeah.
around to watching all of this. And I was like, nothing against the show. It's just I had other things going on in my life. And if I'd have watched it initially when it came out, I would have gone, oh yeah. I would have binged it all in like a day.
So just to recap the Shady Sands stuff. Go back in time. Lucy, when she was younger, she dreamt of her mother and a cornfield, and she felt like the
Yes.
sun beaming on her face.
Yeah.
And she thought she lit us in that was the vault, but it turns out her mother
'Cause-
took her to this city called Shady Sands. The father then realized this and stole the kids away from the mum.
because the mum discovered that the dad was doing
yeah.
So yeah. So and then didn't because in the beginning episode you see there's corn and like a projector of corn and everything, and they're doing a whole corn experiment, and like everyone's just wandering around doing corn, and you're like, why the fuck are they doing corn? And Lucy always has this image of her mum in the cornfield, and then you're like, oh okay, that's probably why. You're like, that image, and then it turns out, yeah, as you said, the mum took the kids to Moldova, because Moldova had in the past been one of the people who told Cooper Howard about what his wife was doing. Knew the wife was going to be bad immediately. And then you're like, oh, okay. And then turns out the dad didn't like that the mum left, so tried to bring the mum back. The mum died in the process. But then the dad took the kid and then I guess built the corn around that memory so
Hmm.
that she was like, oh yeah, this is where I grew up, right? Because kids are dumb. Um, and then we get the dad Moldova comes back to get the dad later as revenge once she's built up enough people, I guess.
Yeah, and then we discovered that after, well, Shady Sands was this sort of place that was like a really nice place in on the surface. People lived,
Yeah,
and
because
it was like a
Maximus
functioning
lived there.
society.
Because
But
yeah,
the vault,
Maximus lived there, and then something blew
yeah,
up.
because I thought I was a bit confused with the timelines of things. Because the bombs dropped originally 219 years ago. That was the start of the
Yes.
fallout. But then it was discovered that the one Shady Sands only fell like 20 years ago.
Yes, I think this is what people were annoyed about because I think in the game Shady Sands is a big plot point for like
Right.
Fallout New Vegas or something, and like the whole story around that. So I think people are like they've changed the timeline a bit to shoot like shuffle in the show or something. But I think they've come out and said this is how the timeline works. I'll see if I can find it whilst you talk about it.
Yeah. So what is this? At the time, I was confused about why there was two lots of different bombs. And then it's later explained what it was once the father discovered Shady Sands, or after the mum took him, and the father took him back, he decided to bomb Shady Sands with a nuke, and Maximus survived by going in the fridge.
Yes,
And
Indiana Jones style.
it's just this whole thing of how basically how evil Vault-Tec actually is, where they just eliminate competition by just throwing nukes at any competition just to sell their vaults,
Yes.
which is fucked up, man. It's really fucked up, but yeah, it was quite an interesting plot point. I found I didn't know it was one of the games.
Mm. Uh. So let me just see if I can find. So the Acclaim series is set in the year 2296, which is a full 15 years after the events of the video game Fallout New Vegas. There has been some controversy among die-hard gamers regarding a location known as Shady Sands in the game. Shady Sands is introduced as the capital of a faction formed after the fall of a civilization called the New California Republic. However, in episode 6 of the series, it's revealed that Shady Sands no longer exists as it has been nuked. The details confused some viewers who had been hyped to see Shady Sands depicted in the show. More details were revealed in the episode 7 thanks to a blackboard glimpsed in a classroom, which informed viewers about the timeline of what went down. In a nearby vault, which Maximus and Lucy Pernell find themselves imprisoned, it is revealed in the show that Shady Sands fell in 2277. The Blackboard reached Shady Sands, founded in 2142. New California Republic created 2189. Shady Sands becomes capital of NCR 2198. NCR becomes the largest economic and political power in the California 2241. The fall of Shady Sands 2277. After the spotting, the final date on the blackboard, though, many fans pointed out there would have been an overlap with the events of Fallout New Vegas, and that Shady Sands was very much still functioning in that game. The date also appeared to be at odds with comments made by the show creator Todd Howard, who confirmed to the IGN the bombs fell just after the events of New Vegas. So it's people were confused about the timeline of when the bomb dropped, is basically, I think, what people are like worried about.
Yeah, so I'm guessing the bomb just dropped immediately after the game.
Yeah, I guess. But
Yeah. I was interested to know that this game is based off, or the closest related one is Fallout New Vegas.
I guess because of timeline. I think New Vegas is the most well received out of all of them, but that's the one that wasn't made by Bethesda, or one of the ones that wasn't made by Bethesda. Because I think it was the people who I think Arcane Studios made Fallout New Vegas. It's also the one that Matthew Perry was in, and I realized that Matthew Perry would have loved to have been in this TV show because he was a big Fallout fan.
Arcane Studios, where have I heard of that before? Developer was Obsidian.
Yeah. Fallout Vegas. Yeah, so Fallout New Vegas is 10 out of 10 on Steam and 8.9 out of 10 on IMDb. Obsidian Entertainment. Who was Arcane? Obsidian Entertainment. Yeah, they did The Outer Worlds of Avowed, which is the game that's coming out this year. Pillars of Eternity, and other stuff. But yeah, they're the ones that people were like, yes. They did Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 with Sith Lords and and Stick of Truth. But yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be more of an Xbox studio, Obsidian.
They did a lot of stuff for like those things. Yeah, because it's now under Bethesda, isn't it? And Bethesda is now under Xbox.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else happened in this show?
Interesting.
What do you think of all the little side characters? That guy in the radio tower, that weird doctor dude, the shop lady.
I like how they all seem very unique. Also, the guy trying to fuck the chickens, the doctors.
Yes, like Maximus is just weird and
funny. I was like, Maximus saves him. He was like, yeah, he's trying to fuck my chickens, mate. And I was like,
oh,
that's a bit mad.
Yeah, but I just love that it just like you think he's just like a cunt who's in the wilderness, and then the guy doesn't deserve to be beaten up. So Maximus comes in like a hero trying to save the day, and it's just like, yeah, that guy was fucking my chickens. That's why I was beating him up. And he's just like, oh, huh. And then just walks away. Like, he doesn't do anything. It's just like, this guy is just apologizing because he's just been beaten up because he was beating up another guy for fucking his chickens. And then Maximus is just like, yeah, okay, bye. It's just great.
But do you think when he says about curing all your illnesses, it's when you all just get ghoul serum or something?
I think that was just, he was just going to give him that anyway. I don't think he was ever really intending to save him. I think he was just going to fuck him about, basically. It was just like, yeah, I can save you. Give me your, what are you going to pay me with? And then it was just like, oh, this thing. So I wonder if that will come back into play. Because I imagine...
Maybe.
Well, I imagine Maximus is going to either run into that guy, or someone's going to run into that guy who is one of our main cast again, and they're going to find like some way of using it, because we've now got cold fusion or whatever it is. At the end, which seems to be powering the town that's created over there. So self-sufficient land creation, I guess.
You know, I was just looking at the old Fallout games, and I'm like, I never actually realized Fallout 1 and 2 weren't first person.
No, they're top down.
They're top down, yeah.
They're really old. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I never realized how old Fallout franchise was. I knew it was like early 2000s, but I didn't realize it came back to 1997.
Yeah, because Fallout 3 is PlayStation 3 era.
Yeah, Fallout 3 is PS3. Fallout 4 was PS4.
Yeah,
and Fallout 5. Well, who knows? Probably not PS5.
No. Although Microsoft does love to say that they'll bring everything to everything. So.
Yeah, they say that, but also Skyrim's going to come out first.
Oh yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 or whatever it is.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 will come out first. And by the time that's finished, I imagine...
Well, as everyone
PS6 will be soon coming out?
Well, what everyone was saying was because Microsoft bought Bethesda and Obsidian Entertainment was a part of Microsoft, they could make another Fallout New Vegas, because that's technically under the same umbrella now.
Yeah, I guess so.
And people love Fallout New Vegas. And seeing as the show is based on some Fallout New Vegas stuff, I'm sure people would be very happy if they made another Fallout New Vegas.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think overall this show does a really good job of like the depiction of Lucy basically still being like hardened by the world, but still having that like believing in people to do the right thing, where she's basically sold to that robot drug like harvester
Yeah.
And then just comes out and saves his life because she's just like, no, I'm still going to be good in this world despite having to do some bad things. And it's just like, I think that's the moment the ghoul goes, okay, look, I'll help you out a bit, and just come in and bash a bunch of people.
Yeah, I find the ghoul, and what has referred to the ghoul, isn't actually that bad of a person. It's just
Well,
basically
it's
just
the
become.
old rugged, rigid. Well, he's a cunt. He does try and murder her, like multiple times.
Yeah, but
But
I think it's just more
he's just
learning to
been,
live with everyone's fucking shit on that world. Like,
yeah. But I think everyone's like, I think the only pure person is Lucy. She's being corrupted by the world.
mm,
Like even the
that's true.
brother's a little psychopath. Like
Yeah,
like that. Like everyone in those worlds is either sociopathic, weird, just fucked. Like it's just a fucked world, I guess. Could be our future though. Who knows?
Oh
I
yes,
do like.
apparently Outer Scrolls 6, by the way, is 2026.
I doubt that.
So, well, it's early 2026. It's
Yeah, but
planned for,
I
so
believe that if my guess is that Microsoft wants a flagship for the next gen console, um, and also Bethesda needs a lot of time to make a game that's good. So I reckon Microsoft will push it back to when their expected release date of their um next gen console is, because you've got the mid gen console coming out sometime this year or next year, and their suspected release date of their next console, because of the Microsoft leaks, was 2028. So I
yeah.
reckon that will be when um, the new Elder Scrolls comes out, because Microsoft will want a flagship game, and that is one of the big selling points of why, and they'll make it exclusive. So that would be the one reason why you want to go buy an Xbox console next generation. Because all of those rumors were before Microsoft acquired um, Bethesda.
Yeah.
So I reckon like Microsoft will be pushing for that to be coming out on the next gen console. So whenever that arrives, that'll be when we get it. Yeah. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. There's a lot
Yeah,
more
I
to talk
can't
about in
agree.
this show, but I think leave some stuff for the audience.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to recap the whole show. People should just go watch it.
No, I think
Good show.
it's yeah. Even though we spoiled some bits, but it's ultimately, I think the story is engaging enough that even if you know the ending, it's still fun ride getting there. It's not like the ending ruins anything, because
I
you're
do
still.
wonder how it behaves on a rewatch. Like how does it appear? Like is it as fun to watch? Because like watching The Boys on a rewatch, because I watched that recently, it's very interesting knowing what you know is going to happen and then seeing how you get there.
I don't
So, but,
know.
but I imagine it'll be probably the same.
I will probably rewatch this show at some point. It's just 8 hours of stuff, and I'm just like, I've got other new things to watch. I still haven't watched Shogun, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff coming out this year that looks good, but we'll deal with that another time. But
We
yeah,
will.
ultimately, I'd give this a solid 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just, I couldn't fault it for anything, I don't think.
No, I think
Maybe
other
like
than
the
I think maybe
one
the
bit of
Brotherhood
bad
is still
CGI.
Brotherhood is still maybe not
I think that
as
is the weakest
interesting.
element,
I think
but
that's the weakest bit. But
I
yeah,
still
I'll give you
found
the 9 out
them.
of 10. So
I
it's not
still think
too
the
bad.
guy acting. Yeah, I think the guy acting in it, like the guy playing Maximus, and is still really good. I think it's just I wasn't as engaged. I was like, okay, Maximus's storyline, cool. Okay, bring back Lucy and bring back the Ghoul, because they're more,
Yeah,
they're really cool characters. Maximus, because it's basically the bad, the good, and the ugly. Basically, you got like, not ugly as in terms of like appearance, but like you got the middle of the road, which is Maximus, the most okay character.
yeah.
Then you've got Lucy, who's your really good character, and then you got your really bad character as So like it's just kind of like hard to. He's the most uncomplex, but he has some complexity to him. But yeah, ultimately, I think it was a really good show. And we'll see you next time for, I think, a solo episode where I'll be reviewing the Fall Guys. Because Dan's going on holiday.
I'm on holiday. Yeah, I'm on holiday. So sorry.
Yeah.
Name me the next one.
Cool. Bye.
Bye.